Hey everybody, this is Matt Kramer here. I'm going to try to finish Federalist Paper 75. The remarks made in a former number, which have been alluded to in another part of this paper, was applied with conclusive force against the admissions of the House of Reps to a share in the formation of treaties, the fluctuating and taking its future increase into the account, the multitudinous composition of that body forbid us to expect it in those qualities which are essential to the proper execution of such trust. Accurate and comprehensive knowledge of foreign politics, a steady and systematic adherence to the same views, a nice and uniform sensibility to national character, decision, secrecy, and dispatch are incompatible with the genius of a body so variable and so numerous. The very complication of the business, by introducing the necessity of the concurrence of so many different bodies, would of itself afford a solid objection. The greater frequency of the calls upon the House of Reps, and the greater length of time which it would often be necessary to keep them together when convened to obtain their sanction in the progressive stages of a treaty, would be a source of so great inconvenience and expense as alone ought to condemn the project. The only objection which remains is which remains to be canvassed, is that which would substitute the proportion of 2/3 of all the members composing the senatorial body to that 2/3 of the members present. It has been shown under the second head of our inquiries that all provisions which require more than the majority of any body to its resolutions have a direct tendency to embarrass the operations of the government, and an indirect one to subject the sense of the majority to that of the minority. This consideration seems sufficient to determine our opinion that the convention have gone as far in the endeavor to secure the advantage of numbers in the formation of treaties as could have been reconciled either with the activity of the public councils or with a reasonable regard to the major sense of the community. If two-thirds of the whole number of members had been required, it would, in many cases, from the non-attendance of a part, amount to the necessity of unanimity. And the history of every political establishment in which this principle has prevailed is a history of impotence, perplexity, and disorder. Proofs of this position might be adduced from the examples of the Roman tribuneship, the Polish Diet, and the States General of the Netherlands did not an example at home render foreign precedents unnecessary. Proofs of this position might be adduced from the examples of the Roman tribuneship, the Polish Diet, and the States General of the Netherlands did not an example at home render foreign precedents unnecessary. Okay. To require a fixed proportion of the whole body would not, in all probability, contribute to the advantages of a numerous agency, better than merely to require a proportion of the attending members. The former, by increasing the difficulty of resolutions disagreeable to the minority, diminishes the motives to punctual attendance. The latter, by making the capacity of the body to depend upon a proportion which may be varied by the absence or presence of a single member, has a contrary effect. And as, by promoting punctuality, it tends to keep the body complete, there is great likelihood that its resolutions would generally be dictated by as great a number in this case as in the other, while there would be much fewer occasions of delay. It ought not to be forgotten that under the existing confederation, 2 members may, and usually do, represent a state. Whence it happens that Congress, who now are solely invested with all the powers of the Union, rarely consist of a greater number of persons than would compose the intended Senate. If we add to this that as the members vote by states, and that where there is only a single member present from a state, his vote is lost, it would justify a supposition that the active voices in the Senate, where the members are to vote individually, would rarely fall short in number of the active voices in the existing Congress. When, in addition to these considerations, we take into view the cooperation of the President, we shall not hesitate to infer that the people of America would have greater security against an improper use of the power of making treaties under the new Constitution than they now enjoy under the Confederation. And when we proceed still one step further and look forward to the probable augmentation of the Senate by the erection of new states, we shall not only perceive ample ground of confidence in the sufficiency of the numbers to whose agency that power will be entrusted, but we shall probably be led to conclude that a body more numerous than the Senate would be very little fit for the proper discharge of the trust. Okay, so that's the final part of Federalist 75, and I hope you enjoyed it. This will be uploaded very soon. Have a great night and a great weekend. Bye-bye.